Hey Mama, welcome to the podcast. My name is Jocelyn and I am a fellow mom and I have 5 kids. And I encourage you to find better mental health during pregnancy, postpartum, and motherhood. But especially during that pregnancy phase and especially during that 6-week phase of pregnancy. If you know of someone in that phase, I have a lot of resources on my podcast for them. I also have done a pregnancy week by week, and I encourage you to share that with them or keep it in mind for when you have more kids. We are doing some postpartum right now, and we are on week 9 of postpartum. Hi, I'm Jocelyn, fellow mom of 5 and host of the Positivity in Pregnancy and Motherhood podcast. I help pregnant women and mothers to find the positivity in their season of life through changing their thoughts to work for them and not against them. I help mothers find the small, doable steps in thought and action without making drastic changes to their everyday mom life. And I can help you. Let's find positivity during our pregnancies and in our motherhood together. Thanks for joining. Postpartum can be a tricky season. For some moms, they just absolutely love it. They're not pregnant anymore. They have a baby. They enjoy it. For other moms, it is really hard to have sleepless nights, changes to basically your whole routine, having to feed babies really often. There's a lot that comes with having a baby. At this point, though, your baby is starting to get a little bit more alert, which is kind of fun. They may even smile at you when you smile at them. Their movements are becoming more controlled and precise. They may be able to grab things a little bit better, and they may even be starting to develop a little bit better sleep cycle or have better rhythms for sleep, which is all encouraging. Babies are fun, but they are a lot of work, and I'm sure by this point in your postpartum, you guys have figured that out. You may have even been able to notice a difference in the way that they cry. You can tell if it's a hungry cry, or a tired cry, or a scared cry, or if they're just have gas or a little bit colicky. Their cries actually can speak and tell us what they are wanting. Something that can help with that is the cycle that I do with all my babies that is so helpful. I will link the full episode to this in the show notes, but it is the eat, wake, sleep pattern. You feed them, you keep them awake, play with them, and then they go to nap. And then when they wake up, you feed them. Now, it's got to be flexible, and in that episode, I talk about some of the flexibilities, but that helps me to know a rhythm of what my babies want. If they wake up and they're really fussy, well, they're probably hungry. If they're they've been awake after they've eaten and they're starting to get fussy, well, they might get tired. This is not foolproof, this is the way it's always going to be, and they'll always cry then because they're hungry or because they're tired. But this helps significantly to figure out why they might be crying or what might be wrong. So I will link that in the show note, but know that eat, wake, sleep cycle can really help you. Sometime in the near future, I want you to do something. I want you to hold your baby, look at your baby, and just think about all the things you love about them and how blessed you are to have this sweet little baby in your home. And what amazing miracle motherhood and these little babies and their bodies and how they work, how they know how to suck, how they can move their fingers, how they can smile. There's so many little miraculous things. Notice some things about your baby that you are grateful for. It is simple shifts like this that can really help you to have better mental health surrounding having babies and enjoying this season of your life and of your motherhood. I want to talk a little bit more about you now. This is going to kind of go two ways, this next part of the episode, because we are going to talk a little bit about working mamas, and then we're going to talk a little bit about mamas who are able to stay home. They both come with their challenges, and so we're going to hopefully give you some good coping mechanisms and tools to help you with each one. I want to talk about working mamas first. And I have to say that I have been very blessed, and also we have chosen to sacrifice so that I could be home with my kids. And let me tell you, it has come with a lot of sacrifices, and not just in time, but in money. We just don't make quite as much money, and we've had to live more frugally. In fact, at the time of this episode, we still rent, which I never thought I'd be renting this far into my marriage. We've been married like 13 years. But we've chosen to make those sacrifices. I know that if I had chosen to gone to work, that we would have more money and we would be in a different place financially, but my kids, my motherhood, and life there would be different. Now, I realize sometimes the mom doesn't really have an option. Moms do have to work because that is the only way to make ends meet. Grateful for us with some sacrifices and being frugal, we have been able to make it work, and I am grateful for that. But I do realize there are working mamas, and there are some mamas who just thrive and do a lot better with working, and that's fine. And it's all individual and all beautiful. So that was a long preface to get into mamas having to go back to work. For some mamas, going back to work is going to be a relief. They're going to love the time, like a little bit of time to themselves or away or separated. And for other mamas, this is going to be really hard. And the mama bear, separation anxiety, a lot of things can come up when thinking about having to leave your babies. It's not an easy thing. But there are tools out there that can help you make it a little easier. And I'm actually going to reference one of those tools from Mama Natural. Now, I didn't have to go back to work. I didn't have to be away from my babies, but I have seen the value in doing writing exercises. And I think in this case, especially if you are struggling with going back to work, this one will be very valuable. So I'll kind of read you through it, and then I will link it in the show notes so that if you want more details and to go through it a little more thoroughly, you can do that. It's important at this point to find a trusted caregiver who can offer good and open communication. When you're looking for the perfect fit, her name's Genevieve, but she's from mamanatural.com. She likes to create a clarity list, and here's how you do it. Get a blank sheet of paper, write a little prayer or intention on the top of your page about your desire to find the perfect place or person for your little one. Think about 5 to 10 things you need this place or person or both to be. Try to look at it all angles. Commute time, if it's a facility outside the home, temperament, communication style, etc. Write down the top 5 to 10 non-negotiable qualities that you desire in this caregiver or care place. The key is to be specific without being too anal, which as a mom you want perfection, but it's not out there. We're humans. As you go through the process of interviewing places and people, keep your list handy as a good sounding board for what your heart's deepest desires are for this situation. Sometimes our emotions can say it's a bad fit, but when we go back to our clarity list, we can actually see it's a good candidate and vice versa. I really like this next part that she puts in it. She says, trust that you'll find the perfect person or place for your little baby. I think that sometimes we discount mother's intuition, but it's there and it can help us in these paths. Maybe that intuition is wanting you to even sacrifice and try to stay home and do less financially. That will have to be a mutual decision between you and your husband, or maybe trust that you will find the right person and do the work to find the right person. And beginning with prayer is always wise. She also has a breast pumping guide on there if you want to go check that out. So those are some things for the working mama and having to find a caregiver and to be outside the home. It happens, and like I said, for some mamas it's good. They enjoy it, they need it, and for other mamas, it's good to be home. Now I'm going to talk about the stay-at-home mamas, and that was me. Like I mentioned, was blessed to be able to stay home after I had my first baby, and it was hard. Honestly, it was one of the hardest things that I had to endure for a long term. I struggled. I went from going to college full-time and 2 jobs to having a baby, and the mental games were real, and I struggled. At the time, I don't think I was open to admitting I struggled, but it was hard, and even my husband would mention, he's like, I didn't know if you would be okay. It was a very difficult season, and I think that's part of why I do this podcast, is because I learned a lot of things from those hard seasons, from motherhood, from very difficult pregnancies, and I found things that helped me to cope better and to get through it better, and I want to encourage you, and God prompted and has led me to help others to find that peace in motherhood and pregnancy as well. So one thing that I did when I had that first baby at home, let me give one more preface. My first baby came 9 weeks early, and he came in June. He was in the hospital for a couple months, and then when he came home, it was like beginning to be like the cold fall and flu season, and they were like, in my mind, they made me very fearful of taking my preemie baby out. So I didn't even feel like I could leave the house. And it was so difficult, especially for a person who was used to being very busy. I felt very alone. And in fact, if you feel alone in motherhood, I know what that feels like. It is tough. In fact, I'll probably do an episode on that soon, because even though it's beautiful, sometimes it can be very lonely, especially when your kids are really young and your husband works a lot, and maybe you don't feel close to your family or you don't live close to them. It can be a lot. So my tip, though, getting back to it, sorry about that tangent, was that use the art of distraction. So I talk about the art of distraction in pregnancy stuff a lot, and that's basically just doing something else to get your mind off of your misery. So the art of distraction when you are home, especially if this is just your first baby, is to do that. So during pregnancy, it can be a little harder to distract yourself because you don't feel good. So you maybe don't feel like picking up crocheting, or you don't feel like sitting there and painting a picture because you just are sick. So the art of distraction is a little bit different during pregnancy, or can look different than it might postpartum. So during pregnancy, I was not up to doing any sort of really creative thing, especially in that first 6 weeks. After that, it got better, and yes, I could do some creative endeavors and distract myself, and that helped. But postpartum, I knew I needed to do something, so I decided to start a blog, and so that's what I did. I started a blog. I think I was hoping to be like a Ree Drummond famous blogger, but that didn't happen. I'm still here, just podcasting. In fact, I only did that blog for maybe a year or 2, but nonetheless, I tried to do something. I tried to put my thoughts and emotions and distract myself from the loneliness of having just one baby and being home. So use the art of distraction, or A creative endeavor. If you have a creative endeavor that you enjoy, pick it up when the baby sleeps. Paint pictures, crochet, knit, embroider, write, paint, do something online, create. Do something that you have enjoyed that will fill your mind with other thoughts than I am so lonely and this is so hard. Because if you fill your mind with thoughts like I am lonely and this is so hard, you will reap that. You will be lonely and this will be hard. But if you start distracting your mind, it will be easier to move into positivity. Like, oh, I enjoy motherhood. I am finding peace in being home with my little one. I enjoy the time where I am able to use the art of distraction to have a creative endeavor. So there is, it takes effort and it takes doing. But you know what, Mama? You can do it. You can do these things, and you can even learn. Use this time to learn. Use this time to deepen your spiritual understanding. Learn about something you didn't know before or some area that interests you. There's endless possibilities, and with technology, there's so many things that we could do with that time to get our mind off of our miseries. So even though I struggled, I do feel there are things that helped me, like that blog, and that can help you in this season. So if you're going back to work, my heart goes out to you, and I hope that it is a smooth transition. I hope that you are able to find the right care provider, the right person to be with your baby, and I hope that you find peace. And if you're staying home, I hope that you'll use some of these tools I've talked about. The gratitude for the baby. I mentioned holding your baby and feeling gratitude, and also using the art of distraction and using a creative endeavor. Mama, I'm cheering for you. God is cheering for you. Your family is cheering for you, and you can do these things to find more positivity in pregnancy, postpartum, and your motherhood. We will chat again next time. Until next time. I was going to end the episode there, but then I remembered I wanted to tell you my website is under progress, and I am so excited. I feel like I'm about halfway there, and I actually think it's live. If you want to go look at what I've got so far, it is positivityandpregnancy.com or pregnancyishard.com. I have both of those links that go to my show, or to go to my website, and you can check out the progress that I'm slowly making. The main progress has been the blogs on the pregnancy week by week. So I have all of the pregnancy posts for week by week in that blog, but it's not showing them in order, and I would like to change the layout a little bit, but nonetheless, that's where a lot of my work has been, and I will update the other part of the blogs and some products that I am going to offer. So check that out. Let me know how you're doing. My email is positivityandpregnancy@gmail.com, and I am cheering for you. Until next time. Thank you for being a part of the Positivity in Pregnancy and Motherhood podcast, for listening, for sharing, and most of all, for applying these tools into your own life to improve your own happiness, so that you can find your own better thoughts and becoming the mother that you desire to be, through taking small steps in thought and action to reach your goals. If you are a mother who has an inner desire to enjoy motherhood and pregnancy better, but you are having difficulty figuring it out, I can help you. Thanks for joining. Reach out, let's connect, and let's see you move forward in your motherhood. My name is Jocelyn, and I thank you for listening. Until next time.